match this great defense in leading Coach Corrigan to having a successful season. He really likes his team and the way they're playing. Big matchup today at the faceoff X. Kyle Gallagher, Jacob Fopp. Fopp had a huge game last weekend against Virginia after going through a stretch where he was struggling, and he wins possession for Syracuse right off the bat.
He struggled mightily against Notre Dame in the first matchup. That's a big win there to gain some momentum early on in this matchup.
Syracuse with the successful clear. Talk about that win last week at Virginia. It was a Syracuse team that you thought it was an automatic that all 5 teams from the ACC were going to make the NCAA tournament, but the Cuse was in a little bit of difficulty after getting blown out by North Carolina at home, knowing they had to go on the road and take on Virginia and Notre Dame to finish the season with no ACC tournament. So a win in one of those final 2 games would certainly pretty much make them a lock to make the NCAA tournament, and they got the win against Virginia. Entman already involved, as he was last week against North Carolina. Strong making his first save.
Entman, the best goaltender in terms of save percentage in the ACC, has had a great campaign. Coach Corrigan said, hey, the one piece we want to see is, can he play a complete game? He feels like he's played, the best 80% of one game at a high level, and then kind of is tailored off there in the fourth quarter. So something to keep an eye on.
Eric Dobson, number 8, sensational freshman from Florida with the ball in his cross. Now Notre Dame making some more substitutions. Bringing on Quinn McCann. Here's Cavanaugh, number 51.
And this is a great matchup for Notre Dame. Having your best player matched up against a short stick.
God, it's a Griffin wrestling in a whole ton of traffic. Loose ball in front, dangerously so. Cavanaugh tried another scoop shot, redirection. We know he can hit that shot. The goaltender Drake Porter was there for the Orange.
Syracuse is an interesting team to figure out, right? Early in the season, you watched them play Army and really didn't come to play. And then they rebound and crush Virginia, and then they have a game against UNC where they don't even really show up. And then they beat Virginia. I mean, this is a team that can beat anyone. It's just who shows up because, they have the talent, especially in the midfield, to compete at the highest level.
Yeah, offensively, and then he mentioned the North Carolina game, but really all they had. That's a guy who can fill it up. Owen Hiltz, the freshman, puts the Cuse on the board.
This all starts with number 2, Griffin Cook, a converted attackman now coming out of the midfield for Syracuse. He's going to roll. Hiltz does the 2-man game, steps off, and let's just listen. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that goal sounded as good as it looked. I mean, hearing it ping the post. I mean, that's what he does. Hiltz is not maybe the best athlete on the field, but he was the number 2 recruit in the country for a reason. Incredibly skilled as a passer, and particularly as a shooter from the outside.
20th goal of the year for Hiltz. There's Coach Desko. First face-off violation. It's going to go against Notre Dame. So Fopp starts this game where he left off in Charlottesville last weekend. Strong. Trimboli now over to Brendan Curry, part of this vaunted first midfield unit for Syracuse. Trimboli will look to attack. Here's Hiltz again. But he might fire a second time. Instead over to Curry. Squeeze it inside. That was a tough pass. He was looking for Seabold. Good hustle by Trimboli. Keeps it with the Orange. Still 30 seconds to shoot. Rafis will look to dodge. Gets a step on Keelty. That shot ends up in the cross of a teammate. Dordovic. He fires and scores.
Dordovic, the best athlete for them on the offensive midfield. He is a right-handed and left-handed type player. And right here, Syracuse offense is clicking. You know, they're moving the ball sharp. And just look at that hard plant near side. I mean, that's so much skill involved in that shot to be able to get it near side high past Entman. Dordovic showing why he's one of the elite players out of the midfield in the country.
Orange up quickly in this one, 2-0. Charlie Leonard winning that face-off for Notre Dame. It'll definitely be a two-headed monster today. Leonard and Gallagher, we'll see a lot of both of them. Both of them had success in the first meeting between these two teams.
Both of them drafted in the PLL draft. So, you know, you want to talk about, you know, what was a pain point for Notre Dame in the past, now being their strength is, you know, to have that depth at the face-off X is what a luxury it is for them.
Sean Leahy, part of the second midfield unit for the Irish, transfer from Providence. Now over to David Lipko. He transferred from Syracuse, so that's interesting, number 66. Graduate transfer Kavanaugh. He inside, scores! That got through a lot of traffic, including Will York, before it ended up in Griffin Westland's cross, and he buried it.
And this is what makes Kavanaugh so great. Again, here, this is a goal that's a result of his just IQ of the game, right? They're going to set a pick on the ball, and Syracuse doesn't communicate appropriately, and then the cross-crease pass, that's just, it's otherworldly. You know, I love his game. Of all the elite attackmen, to me, him and maybe Chris Gray, let the game come to him. He's not making a ton of errors. He's not, you know, a kind of home run type player. It's always going to make the right decision at the right time. And what a campaign that he's putting out there for the Fighting Irish.
Another quick whistle this time again, going against Falk and Syracuse. It'll be Notre Dame ball. I have no idea how that pass got through all those players, including York. I don't know how York didn't try and snag that ball out of the air. Instead, he let it go, and Westland was in a perfect spot on the far post. Westland up top, extra pass, Thompson fires, and Porter is there to make the stop. Interesting for Syracuse, they're short-handed today, especially defensively, Matt. That rope unit, you'll see a lot of number 25, Spencer Small. You'll see some of number 10, Max Rosa. As Coach Desko is having to go down his roster a little bit, test the depth on those D-middies. We already know Nick DiPietro, close defender, is out. He's been out for the last few games. Cole Horan has taken his spot. So depth for Syracuse being tested at a lot of different levels. Curry, quickly, Hiltz in a lot of traffic. I don't know how on earth he can keep possession. He does, though, and Dordovic looking to dodge. Shot by Rafus, goes wide. It'll stay with the Orange. Here's a good look at Seabold, number 14. Arden Cohen on him. Hiltz, what a catch. Entman is there, though, to stop it. 2 saves early for Liam Entman.
The ACC may have the best collection of goalies we've ever had in college lacrosse. I mean, every team, one of their best players is the goalies. And that says something given the pace of play that you get in the ACC and how many goals are scored. You better have someone who can step in the cage and stop more than 50% of these shots. And all the teams are fortunate to have that this season. It's remarkable.
Unfortunately, that was a failed clear by the Irish. Just a couple of games ago, they were leading the nation in clearing percentage. And a couple of struggles. That trip down the Tobacco Road. Some difficulties, especially late in games, in clearing the ball. And that time, Entman just couldn't get anything going. Dordovic. Entman was there to make the stop. Now Rafis, goal line extended, will survey the field. Good matchup here today, Rafis and Keelty. Might get a moving pick here. It looks like we will. Turnover. Now Keelty said we had difficulty last time. Clearing it, I'm just going to return it all the way to the offensive end. Now trouble though for Notre Dame, and they'll turn the ball over. Weston picks up the loose ball in the middle of the field. Thought he might have had an unsettled situation. Instead, he decides to wait for the cavalry to come on. The Irish making some changes, bringing on Lipka. Along with Bo Meyer, number 12. Working on Samalexo. One of those deep meetings we'll see more of today for Syracuse.
Every possession so far for Notre Dame has gone behind the cage, and they're now setting picks on ball with Kavanaugh to try to get the short stick matchup. It's going to be critical for Syracuse's defensive players to communicate through those and not let him get the favorable matchup. And he again finds, someone in the crease. It's tough to defend, but Syracuse has to communicate. That is going to be the key.
On Wyckoff. Nice save by Porter.
Kavanaugh's game, you'd think about his brother who's more kind of a slasher and, God, you'd feel sore after a game watching how hard he played, but Pat can do that too. He is that fiery, he's that good an on-ball type dodger, but I think it's his feeding that maybe even separates him from his brother and ultimately to me will have him at the all-time leading scorer at Notre Dame when this is all done.
Meyer, now the slide comes. York is there, shovels it home.
Will York, a Chicago native out of St. Ignatius, a transfer from Bucknell. 21 goals on the season. He is an off-ball player, and just look how quick and effortless this release is, low to low. Netting a goal for Fighting Irish.
Monday, Scanlon was reinstated by Coach Desko. Well, then the rumors and the reports started to come out that players threatened to walk out, that team captains were going to meet with John Wildhack, the athletic director. On Wednesday, Coach Desko met with the media, but basically said Scanlon's not traveling with the team and that he would have no further comment, and that federal law prohibited either coaches or administrators or anybody within the Syracuse school, if you will, from commenting on a ongoing investigation involving a student. So it has been a difficult few days off the field for Desko and Syracuse, but their play on the field, Matt, has certainly been a little bit of a turnaround when you think about how bad they looked against North Carolina a couple weeks ago.
The games can get away from you in the ACC, and Syracuse has had a few this year where they just didn't show up, right? But it's not for a lack of talent. And again, you lose Scanlon, your leading goal scorer, but you insert Siebold, who to me is maybe a better complement for Rafis and Hiltz, right? I feel like Hiltz and Scanlon are kind of the same player. Siebold presents something different that the defense is going to have to adjust for. So it may end up, well, obviously a terrible scenario for the team. They may be a rallying cry for them.
Great hustle on the back end after that shot to gain possession by the Orange. Grant Murphy, junior from Woodlands, Texas. Man, a lot of players are from Texas lately, aren't they?
The sport is growing as Notre Dame forces a turnover in the clear, look to attack and transition.
Kavanaugh. Almost another unbelievable pass. It was trickling in front of the crease. Porter did a nice job of sticking with it. That's the kind of ball that goes in for Kavanaugh, though, isn't it? Just the way things have been going lately.
He doesn't, I mean, that was a very difficult pass, right? Like, skill level elite. He typically executes. That was, he misled York on that pass, but it was the right look for him because he's that type of player.
Flag on the play. That's our first flag of the afternoon. It looks like it's going to go against the Irish.
Flash. 1 minute.
Slash against Notre Dame. So Syracuse will be a man up.
Syracuse is one of
special units.
Yeah, and they're one of the few programs they don't really have any set plays on the man up. They have a set offense. And so they're going to kind of do these two triangle type offenses, and you're going to look for Owen Hiltz here at some point to come off the crease where he's at now to either, you know, become the primary distributor or to take that outside shot.
You see Hiltz 77. Goal line extended right now on the crease. Instead, big shot. Looked like that rattled off the pipe. It's the Irish that come out of there with the loose ball and Arden Cohen. Now Cassidy will look to clear it out of trouble, and the Irish now will look to run this man down all the way down to 0-0s. They got 12 seconds left. Boys will just wait it out. Coach Corrigan substituting his offensive players in, including McCann. Will now put it into play. Here's Mo Meyer. Working on Max Rosa. Dobson with the big left, number 8. In front. Jacket Boys just missed.
Hey, in the corner, all the way in the alley. He'll restart you.
You get the ball to X and you get in Pat Kavanaugh's hand, something special's happening. He's going to find the open person and make the right play every single time.
McCann to his left. Meyer, the fire. That's a good shot by the camera crew. That perfect angle behind Mo Meyer as he just whistled it wide. Now Weston, a little two-man game behind the cage to Kavanaugh. There was that lefty from Dobson. Didn't get a lot on it, though. It was well defended. Kavanaugh, another beautiful goal. And a few words for the Orange afterward.
What can you say about this sophomore? Just individually athletic enough to win the matchup right here, right? Again, that two-man game starts. Watch the stick fake, takes it to the crease, stays out of the perimeter, goes to the far post, sticks draped all over him. It's just, you know, shame on me for not knowing enough about Pat Kavanaugh coming this year. I mean, obviously he was an impactful freshman, but what he is doing, it's otherworldly. Like, I love his game, probably as much as anyone, if not more than anyone in the country. He never makes mistakes. Like, you don't get that type of point production with the limited amount of turnovers that he does. Like, there's no one else who does it at that rate in the country, and you can see it there. He is a complete attacker.
Syracuse got off to a 2-0 lead in this game, but in the last 6 minutes, Notre Dame, they've outshot the Orange 9-1 rather. And they've outscored them 3-0 to take the lead. During that stretch, Syracuse had a 1-minute man up as well that they weren't able to take advantage of. Here comes Curry. Fastest man on the field. Now back to his right, but a turnover gives it right back to Notre Dame. Fifth turnover in the last 6 minutes against Syracuse, and You can do well at that face-off X all you want, but if you get offensive possessions and they don't even lead to a shot, it's not what you want. But now Notre Dame got in trouble in the middle of the field, and they give it back.
And right there, number 88, Kyle Thornton, takes it over the midfield line as Syracuse gets one off the turnover. That's a big goal, but Thornton didn't get help from his attackman. They couldn't get open, he couldn't get them the ball. Syracuse extended out, created the turnover, then created transition, and nets this game at 3.
That's Seabold, his 11th.
Seabold showing his off-ball prowess right here. Again, just a breakdown in communication. Rafis gives it to Seabold, who goes low to low near side. Coach Corrigan probably not too happy for 2 reasons. The failed clear, their 3rd of the game, and then just a communications breakdown on the back end to allow Syracuse an easy goal.
Dordevic on the assist. Gallagher wins and he shoots. Gordon was there. Loose ball hold against Syracuse. Possession back to Notre Dame.
What do you think? You start your offense here with Pat Cavanaugh again? Probably go back to that well.
Yeah, really good question, Wardo. It's Cavanaugh, 51. Checked by Mitch Wyckoff. Transfer from Gettysburg, number 17. Wyckoff slides over to Lipka.
And so now they're going to go back to, they're going to get it back to Cavanaugh here because he's matched up against a short stick. Syracuse is in trouble here.
Seconds of this first quarter. Cavanaugh. That ball deflected in its passing zone. Nice play defensively by Horan. And our clocks aren't synced up, but that's the end of the first quarter. The horn sounds. Entertaining quarter of lacrosse. Notre Dame and Syracuse all knotted up at 3 apiece. Earlier this week talking about his huge game where he won 24-27 faceoffs against Petey LaSalle in Virginia, and he wins this draw against Charlie Leonard in Notre Dame. So he's back on track after a period where he really struggled a bit, but mentally, and Coach Desko talked about it this week, he's just got that confidence right now, and it's showing. It showed last week, it's showing already so far today. He's won 3 out of 7.
There's no more telling stat, especially in the ACC. If you win the faceoff, you're going to win the game. Like, I don't think there's been a game where a team on the negative end of the faceoff X has been victorious. And Syracuse is the exact epitome of that, where they've lost all the games where they've been down in faceoffs, and the 2 they've won, they dominated.
Jim Boley misfires down the alley. Syracuse keeps possession. Here's Seabold, full head of steam. He's up against Kilty here. Pass, unfortunately, a little bit high. Cassidy digging for it. That'll be another really bad unforced error against Syracuse in a turnover.
Notre Dame's too good on defense to make the careless errors. You know, they're going to force some turnovers, and you just can't give them the extra possessions. Especially with their offense playing the way that it is, right? I mean, Notre Dame's giving up 8 goals a game, you know, on the defensive end in the ACC, right? Like, I mean, it's just remarkable what they've done. But you just have to show up. You can't make lazy plays because it'll just end up biting you on the other side of the field.
Jacobois. Dobson over to Meyer. That leaves somebody wide open on the wing. That looked like Cavanaugh. He just missed. Was.
But you can see the team offense for Notre Dame, right? They draw slides. They move the ball quick. They find the open player. Right here again, perfect example.
Swim dodge by Jacobois. Border went down to get it. Quick outlet pass. Kennedy finds a trailer. This will be a shot and a goal! We talked about that rope unit. Undermanned coming into this game, but Peter Dirth, the veteran, three-time captain of the Syracuse team, puts it in the back of the net.
Porter makes the stop. You then get Brett Kennedy pushing in transition, and right here, look at his awareness. He is going to see that Dearth is coming. He slows down to increase his angle, and then Dearth, one of the best D-middies in the country, who started his career as an offensive player, he can do that to you, right? He can push it in transition. He's super skilled. Kennedy and Dearth playing the two-man game up front to perfection.
Leonard wins the draw. He'll shoot, and he'll score!
Leonard, part of the two-headed monster at the face-off X for Notre Dame. Pops it forward. And just patient, right? Syracuse is going to be slow to slide because you want the face-off player shooting. You don't want to leave the attackmen who are more skilled offensively, but Leonard makes them pay with great patience and poise, and a big momentum goal for Notre Dame to tie the game at 4.
And Leonard will be back at the dot with Fopp. Wing play huge with these new face-off rules. The ball pops out of there much more quickly than it used to. And this is a good example right here of how strong wing play needs to be. You can't turn it over in the middle of the field after you win the draw and win possession. And Notre Dame almost does that, but the Irish keep it. Nick Harris waiting for the offensive substitutions. Now here they come. Lipka on the field for the Irish. Riley Gray earning some play at time, number 17.
24! Ready, me and you!
Gray will shoot. Tough angle. Kavanaugh backs it up.
And Gray needs to take an extra step up the field there. I think he was a little premature in terms of when he released that ball. Against a goalie like Porter, you need to create as much angle as you possibly can if you're going to be able to put the ball past him off those types of dodges.
Quickness by Kavanaugh. Now comes back upfield. Gives himself a little separation.
Who's on? Ready, me and you!
Back to Gray. Gets a step and scores!
Riley Gray's first dodge of this possession was with his left hand. The second on the right side. How comfortable did he look right there? He gets his hands free. Right now we're going to see a great angle, right? It's going to be these extra steps that he takes, and you're going to see it as he gets closer and closer. The goal is going to open up. He's going to have more target to aim for, and right here you're going to see it, right? I mean, keep coming. The whole cage opens up. Nothing Porter can do.
This is Big East and Patriot. Got Big Ten tournament later on this afternoon. Michigan and Ohio State, Hopkins and Penn State quarterfinal action. And tomorrow on the ACC Network, 4 o'clock, Duke and North Carolina. That rivalry will decide the ACC. If Duke wins, they win it outright. If North Carolina wins, they share it. How about that post-game trophy ceremony? JT Giles Harris, you put one arm on the trophy. Anderson, you put your one arm on the trophy. Wow. Picture photo op. Brutal.
I think it's when you rock, paper, scissors, and you just let it go from there.
You got to decide it some way, right? Those two can't share it. What do you drive the trophy between the 9 miles between those two schools every other week? I'm sure Carolina would rather share it than not at all, so they're going to play hard tomorrow. It should be fun to watch. Niche, Clark, Q, all of them on site. Rusty Lynn, our stats guy, is going to make the trip. Kettering will be there. So happy to be on site again for some of these games. Hiltz! Ensigman was there as Hiltz had a point-blank shot. Now look at him ride. And that pipes its way in. Tommy McNamara, speaking of pipes, the bagpipe player hits the pipe on the goal. And it beats Porter for the Notre Dame Irish score.
Another goal in this game, starting with a save. Entenmann for Notre Dame held his ground with Hiltz streaking down the back pipe, makes the save, and then Notre Dame is off and racing. And right here, McNamara, the D-midi, keeps it going. And look, again, here you're going to see the squaring up of the hips. The ball goes at the point where your hips are facing. You can see just picture perfect form. Just unbelievable. That's someone, a D-midi pushing in transition. To be able to shoot the ball like that is going to be a luxury for Notre Dame if they're going to make a title push.
Gallagher wins. McNamara, one of the better bagpipe players Notre Dame has put out there over several years. And I know this because Quinn Kesnick is an expert in this field, and he tells me McNamara is solid, and I believe him. First goal of the year for Tommy McNamara.
Hard to believe when you look at that shot, and the placement is Notre Dame. Again, casual mistake. Got to avoid those.
You've seen careless turnovers, unforced errors on both of these teams here in the first half. Coach Corrigan letting Will York know about how important that is.
Coach Corrigan knows how, to your point, important that particular play, and then this game, the momentum has shifted to Notre Dame. They are pushing in transition. They're getting extra possessions. Syracuse really struggles if they don't get possession, right? Their offense is built on just continually stressing you from an athletic perspective. And again, when you turn it over casually, that's a big issue. But right here, Notre Dame still maintains possession. I'll have to figure out what happened there.
Unfortunately, yeah, without being there, we sometimes have a little bit of a communication breakdown. Jacobboy's there, nice pass in here. York coming upfield to increase his angle. Shoot.
A little bit of offsides maybe on Syracuse that led to this man up.
Yeah. Brief man up for Notre Dame, killed off by Syracuse. Irish still have possession. Boy, they are rallying off the pipes. And when Eric Dobson fires it, that's going to put a dent in the pipe.
Porter's like, why do I do this? Why do I stay in the cage? When someone can shoot the ball with that accuracy and that pace. I mean, Eric Dobson from Florida, right? Kind of under or overlooked in the recruiting. And I don't know how. If you were to show up at any type of camp or any game and watch him play, the range with that shot, he is going to be a difference maker for Syracuse. I know we get the comparisons to Sergio Perkovic, who is one of their great players here in the last number of years, big-time shooter, but to me, Dobson's on another level. You know, Dobson has an awareness for the game that I just don't know where he developed it. Right? Didn't play high-end high school lacrosse, but he is smart. He doesn't make turnovers. He draws slides and moves the ball when he gets his hands free. Move out of the way.
From the Motor City hitman to the Florida flamethrower, Dobson gives Notre Dame that 3-goal advantage. Dordovic. To his left on Cassidy. There's Trimboli. He's working on Hallenbeck. Down the alley, and Boyer slides to him. Now Hiltz. Difficult catch by Curry. Nice job to corral it. Here's Dordovic. Still 30 to shoot for the Orange. Curry looking to use those wheels. Dordovic just didn't have the shot. Now back to his left. Good defense by the Irish. Here's Rafus up top. Skip pass from Bowling. He scores! He had almost no angle, but he beat Entenmann.
That is very good defense from Notre Dame. Great offense from Syracuse. I mean, Notre Dame makes you work. You know, they are known for their on-ball but also off-ball defense. And right here, about 15 passes later, Trimboli finally is able to penetrate and break through. Notre Dame not in a position to slide. It's a low-angle shot, but Trimboli gets a big goal for Syracuse here to make the game 7-5.
12 goals, 12 different goal scorers in this game. Everyone's eating today in South Bend.
We talk about depth in the ACC, right? Each of these teams could field 2 top 20 teams that are that talented. I mean, you can see here, anyone can score. 11 different goal scorers on every goal is just crazy talent.
Well, you have the face-off men scoring, you got D-Middy scoring. Kavanaugh. That's brilliant! The great defensive play individual, and then he finishes it off.
Notre Dame's second goal off of the face-off in this game. Right here, it's the little things. Kavanaugh intercepts it, gets his hands free, steps, plants far post. I love the fire. I mean, he's got this team going, and it's nice those types of plays that has him in the conversation for the Torton Award as the best player in college lacrosse. 3.44 assists a game, 3rd in the country.
How do you explain his jump? Now, last year they played, I think, 5 games Notre Dame did before the season got canceled. But his freshman year, you kind of thought, I don't know what you thought about. I think you thought he was a good, skilled player, but he was so small. He was a little guy coming out of high school, and now he's getting more mature physically, and he's just a totally different player.
To me, it's like, I think it's almost kind of speaks to how he plays, though, right? He probably wanted to come on campus and let the game come to him, almost to maybe a fault, right? And now that he's been there, he has the experience, that's not the case anymore. So he's still very strategic and smart when he plays, but he's forcing the issue a little bit more than he probably felt like he needed to when he first stepped onto campus. Because you look at the talent, like it's just banana lands. Like it's phenomenal.
You can imagine playing with Brendan and Matt. Chris, who's going to be coming to Notre Dame next year. Those 4 brothers in the backyard. Just ball in front of the crease. McNamara almost came out of there with it. Now Ard battling for it. Picks it up.
And against Notre Dame's defense, if you get your hands free, take the shot. They are so good at recovery. If you pass up on one, you may not see another one in that possession. Right there, Trimboli, I thought, had his hands free to release one. And he tried to get a better opportunity, and Notre Dame just communicated and slid. Their off-ball defense is at the high end of elite.
Flag down. Looked like that one came from the top of Arlotta Stadium. On your screen. So the late call against Syracuse. Give the whistle on the shot.
Offsides, 30 seconds.
Lexo was offsides. 32nd man up for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame second in the country in man up percentage, scoring 60% of the time, and Syracuse, right at that 50% number, 63rd. It's not a strength of theirs, so this is a great opportunity for Notre Dame to put another one on the cage.
Irish move it quickly. Wesley thought about it, now up top to York. York has 8 man-up goals and leading the country in that category, number 99. Only 5 seconds, though, on the man-up. Kavanaugh, now at full strength. Wesley comes upfield. Nice pass on the doorstep, and McCann puts it home.
That won't help their man-up percentage, but it absolutely was a result of them having the extra player. Syracuse was still substituting through the box, so they had that man-up advantage for a few extra seconds here. And just a nice skip pass across the crease. The execution on that pass, pinpoint placement. McCann had the easy part of that job. Put in the back of the cage. This is a perfect execution.
You asked Coach what he likes about this team in our midweek conversation. He just said, offensively, obviously defensively, he knew what he was going to get, and he's gotten it. But the fluidity and the selflessness of this offense, he was really impressed with. He really likes the way they're playing here as we head into May, and that was a perfect example of it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the ACC, it's I think Notre Dame and UNC play very similar. I think Duke and UVA offensively play very similar, and then Syracuse is kind of like the different offense, but it's team ball for UNC and Notre Dame. It's kind of hero ball for Duke and Virginia on the offensive end, and to me, it's just fun to see the execution of these teams by scoring as a team rather than individuals. It's different. You're not seeing as much of that in the college game, and I love the throwback kind of offense that UNC and Notre Dame are putting on the field this year.
Fresh shot clock for the Irish. Porter maybe got a piece of that shot. Dobson.
Probably going to want to slide there. He's, him coming down left-handed to a strong hand. You're putting your goalie in a very tough position.
Kavanaugh, the slide comes to him quickly. It's Murphy. Dobson gets a little closer to the cage. And there is Kavanaugh again, just picking up the loose change. He's so quick with those wrists. It's in his cross for a millisecond, Matt, before it's in the back of the net.
Porter makes the stop on Dobson. Easier said than done, and what's he rewarded with? Pat Kavanaugh. Hockey-esque goal right here. You're going to see it, right? The shot, the rebound. He doesn't even keep, he just, watch this. This is, just talk about skill. Bats it in the back of the cage, and again, he's had multiple of these types of goals throughout the season. He's always at the right place at the right time, and the skill levels, it's remarkable.
Had 9 points back on April 3rd. And Notre Dame's big win in the Carrier Dome. He's well on his way to matching that total again today. Fourth, who's the fourth person going to be? Is it going to be Tierney at Hofstra? And Kavanaugh just said, it's me. You know what I'm saying? With his play, he was like, I'm the guy. And he hasn't looked back. We've been talking about him now for the last month.
Look, coming in the season, you think it's Sowers, right? And Chris Gray's probably there. If I'm looking at it now, it's Bernhardt and Kavanaugh. I think they've kind of separated from the pack. Now, again, it's hard to say that because Chris Gray leads the country in points. But to me, I think Kavanaugh has a bigger impact for his offense than the other players do in the ACC. Sowers had some games. Yeah, Sowers has had some games where he didn't show up. And Pat Kavanaugh has not had that.
Solidity of this Notre Dame offense on display here. Over to Meyer. Nice back check.
Great back check. Syracuse has switched to a zone here, though. To me, I get why you do it. You change things up, but Notre Dame is so crisp offensively, and those are the types of teams that make you pay when you're playing zone defense. There it is. You can't, in a zone, get the ball to X to Pat Kavanaugh, and you have off-ball players like York. They're going to make you paddle. I get why you do it. I don't think it's the solution for this particular matchup, though. All great things happen when you're behind the cage, and again, it's just a perfectly timed cut from York, and you're going to get the accurate pass from Kavanaugh, right on the stick. Notre Dame looking sharp here and really putting it to Syracuse on both sides of the field at this point in time.
How much you think of this, too, when you think about the players that Coach Desko is having to play without in this game on the defensive side? We know that Horan is starting for DiPietro. He's a four-year starter. That close defense. Horan's played the last, 3 games. DiPietro's been injured. The rope unit really banged up. A lot of short-stick D-middies out. We're seeing a lot of Spencer Small, Max Rosa. As Notre Dame gets the loose ball. Westland, the extra pass. And a goal by Kavanaugh. Precision.
bigger and faster. It's Notre Dame Fighting Irish team. Wins the 50-50 ground ball off the face-off and then pushes in transition. And okay, we'll get it to Pat Cavanaugh, who can step down with range. Look at the pass. I mean, just it's those little things. The fact that Pat Cavanaugh didn't have to move his stick on that skip pass from Griffin Westland. Like, that makes a difference. If that pass is low, Syracuse can recover and get a check on his hands as he's taking the shot.
Watch out, points for Cavanaugh already. Gallagher to Westland. Cavanaugh again, now behind the back.
If that had gone in. I'm not sure if that was the right play there, but he is riding high. The fadeaway behind the back from 15 is otherworldly if that had got in.
I mean, when you were playing and you were feeling it, would Dom Starsic have yelled at you if you had 6 points in the first half, or would he just let you keep playing?
I would have had a couple turnovers. He'd probably yell at me. I'm also behind the back was not my thing. Pat Cavanaugh's a whole different level than I as a player. Just watching, he's a sophomore. I mean, I love his game.
Buckner getting some playing time. Number 19 for the Irish. Cavanaugh in front. A lot of traffic as he tried to get it to York. It ends up with Drake Porter. First turnover of the quarter for Notre Dame, and they're going to get it right back. Relentless riding is what gets it back to Notre Dame, and Corrigan runs down to say something to Cavanaugh as he put the ball in play. 2.5 to go in this first half.
Does that count as a turnover now? You ride it back there.
Next time out, I want to see if we can get a replay of Corrigan sprinting down the sideline to get a word in with Cavanaugh before he puts his ball in play. That was something. 7-goal advantage for the Irish. Cavanaugh and Wyckoff. Dobson trying to get his left free. That ball was tipped. All the way to the other side. Will Syracuse be able to move quickly? Looking for a trailer coming in. That's Dirth. Now here's Sebo behind the cage. Here comes Trimboli. Gets run over. Kyle Thornton just dunked him. Now here comes Cassidy. Big left-handed shot from Westland. Goes wanted.
One Westland probably wants back. Probably wants that one back. But again, they're making the right decisions though. Every time. Like, that was the right shot, the right play. You just got to put it on the cage. But again, Cassidy, the D-midi for Notre Dame, pushing it up the field, reads it correctly and finds Westland, who has a great opportunity to get another one for they want to win at all. At the end of the year, it's going to be Dobson, the freshman. I know that may be kind of a crazy thing to say now, but if he is getting a short stick matchup at his side and his skill, he needs to grow up. He needs to become a sophomore and become that All-American player that he's going to be in his career. And I think he's getting better each week, and he's going to get there. I think he is going to have a huge imprint for this Notre Dame team moving forward as things become a little more contested as we get closer to Memorial Day.
The Irish 9 for 22 shooting in this quarter.
2 turnovers. Like, that's just offensive efficiency.
Inching his way toward the goal.
And again, Syracuse in the zone defense. I get it, but this to me is playing straight into Notre Dame's hands as they are as an offense. Just talented. They pass the ball. They're great off ball. You get it behind the cage to Cavanaugh. He's going to pick you apart if you're sitting in a zone defense.
There's Dobson. Now to Cavanaugh. Wyckoff comes out to meet him. Westland buries it, just like you drew it up in the timeout. Run the clock down and score.
Picture perfect, right? You kill the minute that's pretty much left in the half, and then it's just a simple carry and follow. Syracuse slow to cover. Westland just going high and hard to the near post. I don't know if that's the solution for Syracuse on the defensive end to play that zone defense.
Westland's second of the afternoon. 14 seconds left in this first half.
His second of the game. Number 3, Griffin Westland. He assists to number 55.
8 seconds for the Orange. Dearth. He'll shoot and score! Maybe that'll give Syracuse a little bit of momentum as we go into the half. Dearth's second of the day.
This is a Syracuse team that can make runs. They were down big against Duke early in the year to come back and lose by 1. Peter Dearth gets his second of the day, but right now the only chink in the armor they can find on Notre Dame's defense is in transition, and Dearth nets his second of the cage to potentially build some momentum for Cuse going into the locker room here at halftime.
Davis picks up the assist. Gallagher wins that face-off for the stat sheet. Stat sheet filled with Notre Dame Fighting Irish in this first half. It was 2-0 early. Syracuse, speaking of the face-off X, owned by the Fighting Irish. Combination of Gallagher and Leonard having success there. And 8 different Domers scored among their 13 goals, so spreading the wealth as well. One of the face-off men, Charlie Leonard, who's taken this draw, one of those goal scorers, fought, battling for it. Now we'll get a loose ball push. That one's going to go against Notre Dame. It should. Waiting for the official to give me the signal officially, and he does. When you're thinking about it, what does Syracuse need to do here in the second half to crawl back into this thing?
Yeah, the art of the comeback in lacrosse starts at the face-off X. They need to flip that in a pretty dramatic way if they're going to want to be able to get close in this game, because you need possession after possession, especially when a defense is sound, as Notre Dame is who you're going against. So that's it. Like, that's where it starts, and they're going to have to do that at a high level to come back.
Misfiring on the pass. And when you gain possession off the face-off, you certainly want to have a efficient offensive possession from it. So you basically have to get a shot off.
Yeah, you basically have to bat 100, you know, for them to you have to execute every opportunity, right? And that's a missed one there. They got possession. They actually had someone open on the crease, and they didn't execute. And when you're down 7 goals against one of the best teams in the country, it's just not going to cut it any other way.
Skip pass. Jackaboys increases that Notre Dame lead.
They've got this Syracuse team spinning defensively. It all starts with drawing a slide. Now Syracuse is rotating, and Notre Dame, with their skill, is going to make you pay every single time. Again, Porter left out to dry against Jackaboys, who's a left-handed shooter, only threw 2 screens. Again, picture perfect team offense. All these goals are assisted.
Yeah, 8 of the 14 assisted today. That's Jackaboys' first. To go along with the helper he picked up in the first half. Look at those quick hands by Nick Harris, picking up that loose ball in the middle of the field.
Batting Irish goal scored by Jackaboys.
To me, right now, watching this game, Notre Dame's best team in the country. from my perspective. I know they're coming off a week where they lost 2 games. The Duke one, they let that get away. They should have won that game. And then you're playing UNC 2 days later. That's tough, but then a week's rest, and look at this. I mean, this is... I haven't seen a team on both ends of the field as complete. You know, Maryland maybe, but they haven't been tested. Notre Dame's been tested. They get tested every week. And so just watching them play again, they're making it look really easy. It's just a simple give and go, and you get it to Kavanaugh behind the cage. His eyes are up, his passing's immaculate, and they're getting the easy shots and making Syracuse pay.
Coach Corrigan continuing to coach his players up. Talking with Jose Boyer. Violation on the face-off. Another possession for Notre Dame. Cav now has 7 points on the day. Had 7 points in the first half last week against North Carolina. He also did a good job shutting down in the second. He's off to a great start here in the second half against the Orange. Dobson, he likes that left. Just bounces it off.
Coach Corrigan in our call this week was just talking. He's like, it's so unique that left-handed players can get their left so much more than righties can get their right. And I don't know why that's the case, but it is. You can look at Dobson, you know, case in point. He's not being forced to shoot any of these plays right-handed. It's all left-handed. His strength.
Having all the pass to Westland behind the back. Shot over the top. Voice on girth. Now Westland, McCann rather, loses it. We're going to push in the back against Syracuse. Spencer Small getting some PT today. McCann gets loose, shoots, hits that top corner, low to high.
Quinn McCann with his 14th goal of the season, 3rd today with the hat trick. A little dipsy-do underneath, gets it back to his right hand, creates angle. Nothing for Porter to do there other than turn and rake. Low to high, pings the upper right corner.
Cassidy with the loose ball. Shot deflected. Winning a lot of these ground ball battles in the middle of the field. Almost all of them.
They're just bigger and faster, right? I mean, I think it's pretty apparent watching this game and this matchup. Athletically, Notre Dame far superior thus far.
This field has been so, this entire half tilted toward this end. Westland and Alexo. Jacobway, swift shoot. Kavanaugh backs it up. Thompson's warming up for Syracuse. Backup goaltender. Kavanaugh loses it initially, picks it up. He's got York behind the cage, opts to come upfield, and Dobson. Now Westland. Ball moving to Dobson. Fires it over the top, 6 seconds to shoot for the Irish. Here comes Kavanaugh. York, he's going to have to do something with it. Kavanaugh on top. Oh, man. That was almost miraculous. Kavanaugh was there backing it up. Couldn't find anybody cutting to the crease, though. still, even when they fail to score and they have a shot clock violation, Maddie, it looks pretty good. Now let's see what Jamie Trimboli can do. Got free initially. Working on Harris. Push behind the goal. That's Rafus. Working on Keelty. Back to Trimboli. In front. Seabold, quick shot. Let's see if they can get another quick opportunity. They do. Lensman was on the pipe, but Hilt sent it a little high. Trimboli. Loves that matchup with Harris. Now back to Seabold. Hensman is there. Ball doesn't go out of bounds. He's scooped up into Boyer's stick. Have until that shot clock hits the 60-second mark to get it past midfield. So that means 5 seconds from now. Keelty just fires it down toward the goal. And with the officials rule it a shot, which there's no way they should, but they don't.
I think they have to be it. I think Porter was closer to the end line where it went out of bounds.
Yeah, you're probably right anyways. Orange in a little bit of trouble again, and they give it up. Dozen turnovers on the day now for Syracuse. As Seabold rides McNamara. Good job by Westland to come get it. Now with a 10-goal lead, the Irish will slow things down a little bit, get set in their 6-on-6 set. Leahy on Dirth. Kavanaugh setting a pick, sort of. Didn't want to get run over by Dirth Vader there. Great move. Tried to feed it back to Leahy. Notre Dame will be able to chase it down, and they do. 25 to shoot. Cavs got Wyckoff behind the cage on skates. Meyer. Kavanaugh in front, and he scores! He's just in the right place at the right time every single time down the field. And has a few words for Grant Murphy when he gets up.
Well, one thing's for sure, this is unconventional. I don't know if he went through his legs or it was just a backhanded shot. And right here, you're going to see the feed from Kavanaugh. The ball is now loose. He scoops it up, and he went through the legs. I mean, are you kidding me? It was, watch here. Backhanded through the legs, low to low. Another highlight. Forget it. New in the women's championship, North Carolina and Syracuse go at it as well. What do you make of this matchup tomorrow afternoon, Duke, North Carolina, for the ACC men's title? Both teams are just unbelievably deep and talented. I think different types of offense, both equally as effective. That first matchup was a back and forth kind of affair, and Robertson got one of his 2 game winners in overtime in the season in ACC matchups. So I don't know. Watch out. Most of these games are 1-goal games, and those 2 teams certainly are going to give it their best, and I'd imagine it's a close one.
Good goaltender matchup in that game as well. Talk about Adler, the transfer from St. Joe's and Duke. He's been sensational all year, especially it seems toward the end of games. And Krieg, the freshman, nobody really expected him to play. We thought Caden Johnson would be playing all year for North Carolina. Krieg stepped up though and won that job, and has been great. Speaking of great goal, that's a great save.
That's just a demoralizing stop from Syracuse's perspective. Hensman quick across the crease, explodes towards it. Good offense from Syracuse. One of the real good scoring opportunities, few and far between in this matchup, and Entenmann just closes the door.
Here comes McCann out of the box. Hat trick already on the day for number 15. Dobson working on the short stick, Alexo. Omeyer. Kavanaugh. 8 points on the day for Kavanaugh. Jackaboys. Way too much time and room.
I mentioned Dobson early in the telecast is probably the key to me for Notre Dame and what they're trying to accomplish this season. He is, he doesn't make mistakes either. Look at him, he's going to draw the double. There it comes. The right easy adjacent pass to Jackaboys. Low to high, but again, Dobson doesn't turn it over. He knows when to get the ball in and out of his stick. Sometimes when you're a big player, the tendency can be, hey, if I'm going to kind of body dodge to hold on to it for too long. His timing seems impeccable because he gets it out of his stick at the exact right time on most dodges.
Leonard, just drafted by the Redwoods, wins it. Now Kavanaugh, well, you just feel like he's never going to miss.
How dare him miss that shot.
Thompson in net now for Syracuse. Harrison Thompson. Sherry backup goalies with Shahei Kachadorian this year. Thompson getting the nod now.
I think that's more just to protect Porter in the cage than it was this has anything to do with Porter on the defensive end.
Kavanaugh's got his defender hung up. In front. Easy, easy goal. This time it's Lipka, the beneficiary of a Kavanaugh assist.
If Kavanaugh gets you hung up in front of the cage and he can stand behind it and survey the field for a prolonged period of time, he will find someone open. Right here, I mean, it's a tough scenario to be in at a defense, but you can't let him, of all players, just sit there and just watch. I mean, again, the subtle things. You see his eye movement there? He looked to the right side of the goal and threw it across his body. It's just an awareness of the game that very few people have ever possessed that he's demonstrating.
Another face-off win for Notre Dame. Russ Bergmaster playing on the wing, along with Nick Harris picking it up. Now Griffin Weston. Wait for substitutions to come in. Get a chance to see players like Michael Fay, number 11, playing for Notre Dame. He's coached Oregon. Getting some PT for some of his guys. Riley Gray scored his second goal of the year earlier in the first half today. Kavanaugh. That hit somebody in front. You could hear the thud. Good hustle by Will York, though. Keeps possession for Notre Dame. Still 35 to shoot. Good ball movement now, Weston. Number 4 to play in this third quarter.
The spacing that Notre Dame demonstrates as the ball's whipping around. They never get congested.
Quentin Buckman tried a backhand shot. Ends up deflecting to Peter Durth.
Coach Corrigan may have some choice words for him as he runs to the sideline. You're getting an opportunity here to make a play. Stick to the basics.
Well, let's see if he makes up for it here, picking up the ground ball on the turnover. Syracuse, their 4th failed clear of the day. Another 80 seconds on the shot clock for Notre Dame to just work it down, up 13. Final game of the year for both these teams until the NCAA tournament. Presumption is that all 5 teams from the ACC will be at-large bids. There is no automatic bid for the ACC. Only 5 teams in the conference. Need 6 according to the NCAA to get an automatic bid. Westland bounces it wide. 8 automatic bids, 8 at-large bids this year for the NCAA tournament without the Ivies.
41. Unnecessary roughness. 1 minute.
Tommy, a minute.
Unnecessary roughness against Syracuse.
1 minute. Unnecessary roughness.
Interesting with the seeding too. You know, Matty, normally the 8 seeds have home games in the opening round, and that's not going to be the case this year. So it's a little bit different in terms of wanting to and really needing to be one of those top 8 seeds. Not as important. We'll have games in 4 different sites for that first round. Then quarterfinals at Hofstra, then South Bend. Semifinals and finals in East Hartford at the Rent. Loose ball here. Syracuse wants it to kill off the rest of this penalty. Physical play. McCann with a nice catch to keep it with Notre Dame. Now Dobson will look to attack. McCann just loose it out. Yeah. Thompson was there. 8 put a charge into it, but Thompson saw it all the way. Already 50 shots for Notre Dame. We're still in the 3rd quarter. Back at full strength, penalty killed off. Syracuse PK unit did a nice job. Look at the shot discrepancy. Dordovic temporarily losing his footing, picked it back up. Dordovic on McNamara. Tried to get it to Rafis inside, it's knocked away. Now here comes McNamara, he temporarily loses it and gets dumped. Tripoli looks to move quickly. Seabold looking for a cutter.
Syracuse's turnovers approaching the amount of shots, not a favorable ratio for any offense.
Curry sends that shot into the forest on the far side of Arlotta. Final 30 seconds of this 3rd quarter. Tripoli couldn't get a shot off. It's hammered before he was able to fire it to the net. Harris was there. Now Curry using that speed. Entman with the save. Guilty. We'll get a hold here against Syracuse. Boyer looking to clear. Now we'll get the call.
Orange, 14. 30 seconds. You got the guy who doesn't move that cross check to the head.
Syracuse penalty number 14, Owen Seabold. 30 seconds for a hold.
Looks like Seabold got a handful of Keelty's jersey. Right there, almost got caught in his armband, on his arm pad. Unfortunate call against Seabold, but Notre Dame will hold it here until the horn sounds ending the 3rd quarter. They'll be man up when we go to the 4th. Impressive display today by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 19 goals through 3 for Coach Corrigan's crew. They lead 19-6 as we have.
All the difference as they pick apart the Syracuse defense throughout the game. But again, it's those drawing slides, moving the ball. It's the second extra pass. It's the hockey assists that have been most impressive to me for this Notre Dame offense and what they've done today.
Man up for a handful of seconds here as we start the fourth. York, that's his spot. 99 closest to us, Kavanaugh. York will shoot. Thompson is there.
Every loose ball has come up for Notre Dame.
McCann shoots. And you got to think up 13 here. Corrigan wants to work clearly for the best shot, right? You really don't want to take a shot with a lot of time left on that play clock, on that shot clock.
I think you're pretty comfortable that you're going to come away with a W in this game. If I'm Notre Dame, I'm working on delayed sets, right? Let's run an offensive set where it's championship weekend and we up by 1 and we're going to try to run the whole shot clock down. Like, work on the things that are going to matter because this game is safe. But it's like, hey, what scenarios can we see or have unfold later on that we need to work on in this matchup? And so for me, it would really be like, hey, let's run the full shot clock and really kind of optimize our offense and try to attack with 10, 15 seconds left, because it's going to be those long possessions and close games down the road that are going to ultimately, make or break your season.
Situationally, Siebold's shot bangs off of Arden Cohen. Here's Trimboli. This is wide, shakes his head. Frustrating day for the Syracuse offensive midfielders in the attack, man. Rafus, he's been silent. On the outside of the cage. Hensman's only had to make 7 saves. There's Riley Gray. Emma Barger. Back to Gray. Meyer. Now Westland. Tried to get it inside. Mikey Drake, and he got dumped. That's Drake, number 6, right in front of the crease. Barger. A lot of traffic, a lot of plastic popping in the middle. Nice job by Wyckoff to get it back to Thompson.
Nice behind the back pass there, but a stat that just shows how one-sided this game has been is that Notre Dame has missed 8 more shots than Syracuse has taken in the game. 32-25 missed shots versus total shots for Syracuse.
Yeah, we showed you the shot stats so in favor of Notre Dame. Now we get a whistle. We got a loose ball push. So Syracuse with possession. Hensman made that save. That's 8 on the day. Jackaboys. Got the feed from Westland. Just sent it wide. Jackaboys with 2 and 1 today. Can with a hat trick. Dobson up top to McCann. Jacob hoists the extra pass. Flag down behind the back. Thompson is there to make the stop. This will be a call on Syracuse.
All right, 1-8. 1 minute. Unnecessary roughness. Good fucking hit, baby.
The high hit there, but again, what's nice here, right? McCann got hit high, gets up, cuts back door, and has an opportunity to score. Like, they don't take a play off, a moment off in this game.
Nick Hackney guilty of the infraction, transfer from Utah. Dobson is there, making the stop. Thompson's got tested a few times, come out of there with it. Still no possession of the Irish, so man up, they'll have another opportunity to score. York behind to Kavanaugh, quickly to Westland. He scores! A 10-point game for Kavanaugh as Westland buries his third goal of the day.
Westland snaps an 0 for 10 streak in shooting for Notre Dame, but again, get the ball to X. Kavanaugh will get you the ball where you need to be, and Westland fading away, puts it to the far post. He's done. He's out.
Work is done for the day. Now Danny Varello getting an opportunity to win some face-offs for Syracuse. He does just that. Rafus trying to come back upfield against Keelty. Trying to get a cut in Curry, just couldn't hook up with him. Dordovic keeps it. Syracuse, though, up top to Trimboli. Here's Rafus. Trimboli just off the mark. Syracuse has not been sharp shooting the ball all game long. Sebo. Dordovic, he gets free and just too high. Keelty all over Rafus. One goal in the last 30 minutes for Syracuse. This game got away from them late in that first half, and they weren't able to stem the tide and put together a run early in the second half. Instead, it was the Irish really putting this game away in the third quarter. The Orange have missed 13 straight shots. That one looked like it may have hit the outside of the pipe as they're resetting the shot clock. Dordovic, he'll shoot. Hensman couldn't see it, he made the initial stop. Now he goes up to get it. Cassidy clears it for Notre Dame. Clock inside of 8 minutes. That's Mikey Drake.
You're alone, you're alone, you're alone, drive, you're alone.
Leahy now calls for the troops. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Fans here at Arlotta showing their appreciation. The effort today by their Fighting Irish. 20 goals. Lipka. That shot wide. Connor Morin, number 22. Passing lane, Sticks deflecting that pass. Now scrum for a loose ball. Picked up by the Orange. It's Max Rosa. Hiltz to Dearth. Tried to get it in front. Could not, but Seabold is there.
I mean, how hard does this Notre Dame defense make offense? I mean, everything looks challenging. It's the simple, passes that they're getting pressure on your gloves and you mess up. If you compare it to how Notre Dame's playing offense and how easy that looks, it looks just as difficult for Syracuse to create any type of opportunity against this Notre Dame defense that's clicking on all cylinders as well.
Hiltz. And that's like a dive in hockey. Player dives to block a shot.
Up 14.
Yep. Right up Jimmy Littlefield, who's wearing the number 40 today for Notre Dame. Opportunity to make the save in this game by Liam Entenmann. Stones Hiltz. Flag on the play. This one's going to go against Syracuse.
Yeah, Jim! Can't believe I got a piece of that. Hell yeah, Jimmy! What up, Jimbo Slice? Yo, that's where number 4 right there. Hey, Jimbo! Let's go, Jim. What up, 40?
The Irish will remain up for another minute. Coach Desko just, at this point, just wants to get out of town.
Yeah, have that.
Westland has all kinds of time. Shot just deflected.
What's inside? Inside. That's right.
McCann put it in play. To your point, opportunity to work on man-up offense here in a game situation. That's why you see all their typical man-up players in, other than Kavanaugh. His work is most likely done for the day. And a lot of work it was. Jackaboys. Dobson scores another from outside.
Eric Dobson, the freshman, changing it up. His patented lefty high, this time high to low to the far post.
After the Irish goal, call against Jerry Stotts, so they will also be man up for the next minute. Makes this a big loose ball, won by Notre Dame. Just a reminder to those looking for TCU and West Virginia baseball, we started that on the app, ESPN app, and as soon as we wrap things up here from South Bend, we'll bring that baseball game over here to ESPNU. Final 4 minutes and change in a dominating performance by Notre Dame, as both these teams now will look forward to Selection Sunday. That's a week from tomorrow, May 9th. We will have that show on ESPNU at 9 o'clock. Trimboli to Curry coming out of the box. Collision absorbed. Trimboli now wide, and he and the rest of his teammates just have not been on target shooting the ball all day long. Rafis on Keelty. Skip pass. Dordovic. He scores. And that breaks a long drought for the Orange.
First goal of the second half. Dordovic, really the only player that I've identified for Syracuse who can get any advantage in his one-on-one matchup there against a short stick. A nice split to the middle of the field. That's what it takes to score against this Notre Dame team. You gotta move the ball a couple times. You gotta get to the center of the field, and you gotta sting corners. You know, it's kind of it's perfect offense that has to be demonstrated to penetrate this well-coached, athletic, talented Fighting Irish defense.
Violation on Notre Dame on the faceoff. That's Syracuse's first goal since that goal by Peter Dirth right before the half. Dordovic tried to do almost the exact same thing. And the Irish closest to it when it goes out of bounds, so it stays with Notre Dame. New goaltender in the game for the Irish, Matt Schmidt, a veteran. Coach complimented in our conversation with him this week in terms of helping Liam Ensman out in a lot of situational type stuff.
And you love to hear those stories. Someone who had an impact on this program. He was a starter at one point. You bring in Entenmann, one of the better recruits in the country in the goal cage, and he didn't complain. He did his job as a teammate, and Coach Corrigan really said, look, he's as responsible for the success Entenmann has had as anyone on this team, and you love to hear stories of that. You have every opportunity to complain and kind of revert into yourself, and Schmidt did the opposite of that. Became more vocal and a better leader, even though he's not seeing the minutes that he probably wishes he was.
There you see Ensman keeping it close. Timeout by the Fighting Irish. 2:23 left to go here. Coach Corrigan will get the W, improve his conference record to 3-3.
It's going to be six of the last 8 matchups. Notre Dame's going to come away with a victory over Syracuse. That means something. This is a Fighting Irish program that has been at the upper echelon for some time now, just looking to make that final step to becoming a national champion. They've been close. This team has every bit the opportunity as anyone else in Division I lacrosse.
Syracuse man up. Denied by Schmidt. Orange with possession. Rafis, full speed. Gets away from Hiltz. Full strength now. Bounce pass. Shot is wide. And they're going to give possession to Schmidt and Notre Dame. Big hustle play, up 14 goals by Schmidt.
If I'm Notre Dame, I'm as excited about that as a coach as I think Syracuse probably is disappointed on that effort on the run out there. You know, things don't always go your way, but it's a sign of character. Do you give it your all to the last whistle? And I feel like Syracuse is retreated here. You know, as this game got away from them, it looked like they've kind of packed it in, and they're not giving it their all on the ground balls and the 50-50 type stuff.
About a 21-second differential between game clock and shot clock. Just too high for Michael Fay. You could hear his teammates on the sideline wanted that one. And that's number 22 on the game for 22. Connor Morin is second of the year.
Connor Morin was a big-time recruit. Got some playing time early on. Nice to see the senior get his second goal of the season. Just an individual effort. Hard plant to his right. Wraps it around the Syracuse defensive player. Notre Dame's bench very much engaged in this game. Hard to pick apart any weakness in this program right now.
Flag here against the Irish as we're in the final minute of play. Syracuse broke out to a 2-goal lead right from the start today, and since the very early moments of this game, it has been all Notre Dame. As we'll get the final call here.
Here we go, man.
TCU and West Virginia baseball coming your way in just a few moments.
Wait, please.
30 seconds to leave the hole.
So the final 20 seconds for Brendan Curry and company. Man up. Nice catch by Triboli. Sails it over the top.
Every shot contested by this Notre Dame defense, even on the man down.
Hiltz. He'll shoot and score. Stat stuffer for Hiltz.
Hiltz with his second goal of the game, both lefty low to highs to the corners.
Hiltz is in position to score the first and last goals of this game. One last face-off win for the Irish. And an impressive win for Coach Corrigan and company. Matt, as impressive a win as we've seen all year.
Oh, absolute domination from Notre Dame. You give them a week off, and this team is